So welcome to the beginner's yoga course. We're going to start with the breathing. So lie down flat on your back. Place a pillow or something soft like a folded blanket under the head. Open the legs to the width of the mat. Move the arms away from the body, palms facing up. Feel the weight of the head resting down, letting go of any tension in the neck. Allow the shoulders to drop back to the floor. And the arms lay down heavily, relaxing the hands and the fingers. Feel the pelvis resting down on the floor. And then feel the weight of the legs resting down as well. Relax the feet. Allow the low back to sink toward the mat. Allow the organs in the belly to sink back. And then let's relax the facial muscles. So soften the jaw to begin. Allow the upper and lower teeth to separate. And let them stay separated. You can even say, ah. And by doing that, you're opening the mouth enough to relax the jaw muscles. And keep the mouth open and continue breathing through the nose. As you breathe, take the breath all the way to the bottom of the lungs. Let's place a hand on the upper belly, just where the ribs end. So just above the belly button. As you inhale, send the breath to where the hand is resting. Let the belly rise, pushing the hand up. And as you exhale, allow the belly to sink back. And again, inhale, filling up toward the hand. And exhale, slowly release the air. Inhale, fill the belly. Take longer to release the air. So it might come out in smaller amounts, but a steady stream if possible. Inhale, fill the belly. And exhale. Slowly draw the belly button toward the spine, pushing the last bit of air out. And again, fill the belly. Keep filling. And exhale slowly. Let's count the length of the breath. So as you inhale, start your count. And when you finish, pause. And then begin the exhalation and count that length, aiming to make it longer. You don't have to force it, but just with the intention it will become so. Again, filling the belly all the way to the middle chest, the upper chest, and release. And again, inhale, fill the belly. Exhale slowly. One more time like this. Inhale, count the length. And exhale, again, counting, but slowing it down so the count is longer. Okay. Now we're going to place the hands on the bottom of your side ribs, like you're putting your hands on your hips, but higher. If only one arm can go there, that's fine. What you want to do now is continue filling the area you just were. Fill the bottom of the lungs all the way from the belly to the top. And then keep inhaling and fill the sides where the hands are resting now. And then exhale slowly. And you can also count the length of the inhalation here. Notice it's likely going to be longer. Exhale slowly. Try to elongate the exhalation. And by doing that, you're relaxing the nervous system. Again, inhale, fill the front and the sides. If you can, all the way toward the armpits. And again, fill the front all the way to the top. Then the sides all the way from the bottom to the armpits. Exhale slowly. And keep counting the length of the breath. Inhale, fill the front. Fill the sides. All the way to the armpits. And release. One more full breath like this. Fill the front, sides, and slowly release. So now we're going to slide the hands to the back ribs. Now probably your palms won't touch. So the back of the hand just at the bottom of your back ribs will do. If only one arm can get there, that's fine. Just do your best. Now, as you inhale, fill the front from the belly to the top. Fill the sides all the way from the bottom to the armpits. And now take more air in to fill the back. And exhale slowly. Now you may not find much happening in the back of the lungs yet, but it will eventually. So again, inhale, fill the front, sides, and back. So while you're lying there, you should start to feel the body relaxing onto the floor even more. Fill the front, sides, and back, all the way toward the shoulder blades, and release. Now, if this is starting to cause you to feel a little anxious, don't push so hard. Just breathe generally into those areas without really pushing into them. Last one, inhale, fill the front, sides, and back, and release. So we're going to do a little neck stretch now. Turn your head to the right. So you're lying down on the floor, turn your head to the right, bring the right cheek toward the mat, or the blanket, or the pillow, and then slide your left hand under your low back. And if it doesn't reach the low back, that's okay. Get it anywhere near there that you can and allow that left shoulder to drop back to the floor. And at the same time, let the right cheek drop down toward the mat. Now you're still breathing deeply, filling the front, the sides, and the back. Keep the jaw relaxed. Say ah. So we're just releasing tension in the neck in the most relaxed way that we can. Keep letting the head drop over to the right. As soon as the left side of the neck releases, you're allowing gravity to pull the left shoulder and the right cheek toward the mat. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. Still practicing the full breathing. We call this diaphragmatic breathing. It's also known as three-part breath, filling the front, the sides, and the back. So when we breathe like this, I'll just talk while you're doing the breath work. When we breathe like this, we are not only oxygenating the cells of the body better, which helps them relax more, because when the cells are fed, they relax, just like you. When you eat your meal afterwards, you feel relaxed. When you're hungry, you feel tense. It's the same thing. So the body tightens up when it lacks oxygen. The other thing that happens is you're training the vagal tone. Vagus nerve is a long couple of branches that stem from the brain to the organs in the belly. When you slow the breath down, you slow the heart down. When you slow the heart down, you slow everything down, especially your reactions, your thought waves, and the ability to relax becomes greater. And relaxing takes practice. It's not an easy thing to do. And you need to build on it. So relaxing for a minute is good, but you need to do that for longer and longer periods in order for you to be able to stay relaxed while in action, while working, while walking, while talking. And this takes quite a bit of practice. So we're here for just 3 more deep breaths. And just to put on top of all that, you want to preserve the nervous system. You don't want to exhaust it. You don't want to overuse it, because it doesn't have the same capacity to rejuvenate that the other systems in the body do. It takes much longer and sometimes not at all. So the real goal is preserving it. And by being relaxed and alert, you are definitely working in the most efficient and practical way to save the nervous system from any type of stress. Okay, let's slide the left hand out from underneath you, turn the palm back up, bring your head back to center for a couple of breaths. All right, when you're ready, turn your head to the left, bringing your left cheek toward the blanket or the pillow or the mat, and slide the right hand under the low back. And again, if the hand doesn't go under the back easily, just put it close to that position and let the right shoulder drop back. As you release the right shoulder down, also consider and concentrate on relaxing the right side of the neck. As it does relax, let the head drop further to the left. Continue breathing fully into the belly, the sides, and the back. Remember, we're trying to elongate the exhalation. Inhale fully, front, sides, back. And slowly release the air. If you find your mind still active, try to tether it to the breath. Follow it all the way in from the bottom to the top, and from the top to the bottom. And stay with that. Keep the jaw relaxed. Soften the right shoulder back and down. If you notice any part of you getting tense, do your best to soften and let it go. So you're going to notice at some point, whenever your mind gets busy, your breath is forgotten. So if you've forgotten your breath, you know you've been thinking. And sometimes we're thinking without us realizing we're thinking. Even though we're trying not to, it happens. The goal isn't to try not to, it's to decrease the thoughts, decrease the speed of the thoughts, so that we're much more capable of observing them and also of deciding whether we have them. Sometimes we have thoughts we don't need to have. They're either detrimental, harmful, or they waste energy. So just notice those things as you're here, breathing deeply. Okay, we're going to be here for another 3 full breaths. All right, let's take the right hand out from underneath you, bring your head back to center. Pause for a couple of breaths with the palms facing up and the head at center. For a short while, we're going to come into the double diamond shape. So bring the soles of your feet together and then open the knees toward the floor. Even though you're not going to be here very long, it's still sometimes we resist opening up. But knowing that we're not here long, just do your best to let go through the legs and start to loosen the hips. And then let's bring the arms up into a similar shape. So they're over the head, the elbows are bent, you're dropping the hands and the arms back. Now, if you feel there's way too much tension, it's hurting through the shoulders, put a block, a pillow, or a folded blanket under the arms. We're just here for about a minute and a half, taking deep breaths. Now you can concentrate the breath a little bit more into the sides of the lungs toward the armpits. Letting go through the hips, letting the legs drop down. There'll be lots of resistance here. You'll have to work with the layers one by one, releasing them. Take the breath in until you can't anymore. Keep the exhalation slow and long. All right, we're going to bring the arms back down by the sides and use your hands to help your knees come back together. So you're kind of bringing the legs up. Now, keep the feet on the floor, part them a little wider, and drop your knees in toward each other. This is called constructive rest. So you're not holding through the hips at all, but your low back is closer to the floor than if your legs were extended. So this is a good place to go anytime between postures or after the end of class. You don't want to have the legs extended. You can be in constructive rest. But from this position, we're going to do a little exercise. Now, we're going to do our best to inhale and lift the low back off the mat. So you're arching it, like my hand can go under my back now. And then exhale, press the low back flat to the floor. And again, inhale, arch and lift the back. Your shoulders are still down, your head is still down, your pelvis is down. And then exhale, round and curl the spine like you're tucking the pelvis, you're pressing the low back into the floor. And release, inhale, arch. Maybe the tips of the bottom of the shoulder blades lift off. Exhale, press it down. Now you don't want to force this. This is gradually increasing. Inhale, arch. Maybe a little more comes up. Press the head into the floor. And then exhale, come down one vertebra at a time, round and curl the spine. Release, inhale, press the head into the floor, lift a bit of the shoulder blades up. And then exhale, lower down one vertebra at a time, curl the spine. Again, inhale, arch, press the head into the floor. Maybe all the shoulder blades and shoulders lift up. And exhale, one vertebra at a time comes down, starting from the neck to the tailbone. And again, inhale, arch, and press the head into the floor, lift the back up. Exhale, lower down, one vertebra at a time, curl and tuck the pelvis. Last one, inhale, arch, press the head into the floor, lift, hold everything up off the floor for a couple of breaths. Now this is strengthening the neck muscles. It's keeping the spine supple and mobile. And then slowly lower down and rest flat on your back. We'll take a couple of breaths. Now these may not be tiring exercises, but stopping in between them can really bring you back to a neutral state where things can settle. So when I say rest, it's not because we're tired, it's more because we want things to realign. From here, you're going to now bring your knees on top of your ankles, so part your knees a little bit. You're going to tuck the pelvis and lift it up off the ground. And lower back down one vertebra at a time, bring the pelvis back to the mat. Now these principles will be used in yoga over and over, so we want to get them, okay? So tuck the pelvis, press into the feet, lift up, and exhale, slowly lower down. Try to have your face facing straight up for this. Inhale, tuck the pelvis, press into the feet, lift the hips up, and exhale, lower down one vertebra at a time. So you're slinking down and pause. Inhale, tuck and lift. And exhale, lower down. The repetition is also loosening things up between the vertebrae. And again, tuck and lift. And exhale, slowly lower down. This time, you're going to come all the way up. This is called bridge pose. You're going to bring the hands either palms down onto the floor under your body, or interlace your fingers, shimmy the shoulders under your back, press into your feet and lift up even higher. And we're going to hold this for a few breaths. And release the hands. Come down one vertebra at a time, rolling down. And then let's bring the knees into the chest and give them a hug. You can rock a little bit from side to side. Okay, now we're going to place the hands on top of the knees. With the knees together, the hands will move the legs in a circle. Just an easy circle. It doesn't have to be super big. It's really just feel the low back releasing and the muscles around the lower part of the spine and also the pelvis being massaged on the floor. And then let's go the other way. Okay, now we'll part the legs and we're making them go in opposite directions. So now we're working a little bit more with the hips. So keep the hands on the knees. The hands are moving the knees in circles. Opposite. Yeah, now let's go the other way. Try to avoid using leg muscles to do this. Get your arms to do the work. Okay, and then open the legs a little bit wider and let them open to like a frog-like position. Hands on the knees, you're just going to rock a little bit from side to side, loosening up the inner legs. And then bring the knees back to the chest. Give them a really good hug. Take a few deep breaths. All right, let's extend the heels toward the ceiling. So the legs may not straighten out all the way, that's okay. You're going to massage the backs of the legs with your hands. And flex your feet and separate your toes. Really separate them. Try to get space between every toe. And then point the toes to the ceiling. And again, flex the feet, separate the toes. And point the toes. Again, flex and separate the toes. and point the toes. And now let's make circles with the ankles. Big, round, wide circles. And circles in the opposite direction. Okay, so we're going to do a few different things. First thing we're going to do is a bit of an abdominal exercise. So bend the knees, keep the knees over the waist or the belly. Place the hands on the thighs. Now, your hands are going to push your legs, but your legs are not going to let them be pushed, so they're going to push back into the hands. At the same time, keep the low back pressed down to the mat. Ready? Take a deep breath in and push back. And release. Inhale. Exhale, push the legs away and release. Inhale. So your legs are resisting. They're like, no, I'm not going anywhere, but your hands want them to. So there's this abdominal contraction that's happening. And release. Inhale. Exhale, push the legs. Push, 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 push. Inhale, release. It's also good for your arm muscles. And push, 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 and release. Exhale, push the legs. Legs won't go anywhere. You're pushing even harder. And release. Again, pushing even harder. And release. Last one, pushing as hard as you can. 2, 3, 4. Tuck your pelvis. 5, 6, 7, 8. Hug the knees in. And just rock a little bit from side to side. Okay, now keep the right knee in and extend the left leg toward the end of the mat. And pull that right knee in as close as you can. On the inhale, release just a little bit so the belly can fill and expand with the breath. As you exhale, pull the knee in close. And release. Inhale. Exhale, pull in. Release, inhale. Exhale, pull in. One more time. Release, inhale. Exhale, pull in. And let the legs stay there. Place the hands on the floor beside you. We're going to make circles in the air with the right leg. Big, round, wide circles. Now, some of these exercises are part of the therapeutic series, but it's very good for beginners to start with these small joint movements and gradually getting into some weight bearing. So let's switch directions. Circling the leg the other way. Keep your low back pressed to the floor so you're not rolling around. Keep your low back pressed to the floor. Good. Okay, we're going to do this one more time. Extend the heel to the ceiling. Start with small circles. Small circles. Keep your low back pressed to the floor. You can use your hands on the mat. Gradually getting bigger. Gradually. Okay, if you feel twinging, don't go bigger. Okay, now go in the opposite direction. Maybe you have to go small to start. Gradually getting bigger. Now there's the tendency to want to go fast to make it easier, but slow is where things really happen. Slow circles. Okay, so you're probably tired through the hip. Extend your heel to the ceiling. Reach up your leg as high as it goes and bring your forehead toward your knee. Pull your leg towards you for a few breaths. And then release that leg, bring it back to the floor, matching the left leg. Just come into, we call this Shavasana, corpse pose. It means corpse. So pretend to be dead for a minute and relax the whole body. If that idea scares you, don't worry. It's just play. The idea is to really let go. You may notice a difference in the sensation of one hip to the other or leg to the other. See if you can feel that. All right, let's bring the left knee in now, giving it a hug on the exhalation. Really tight. On the inhalation, release it slightly. Take a deep breath. Exhale, squeeze the knee in. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. So they call this wind relieving pose. Inhale, release. It's more than that though. It's also releasing tension from the hip and making it a little bit more greased with the synovial fluid. So it glides better. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze, and leave the knee over the belly, hands to the floor. Press your low back to the mat, and let's begin making circles with the left leg. Starting slow and small. You might have some clicking or thudding. It's not harmful if it's not hurting. And then go in the opposite direction. If it's hurting, you should make much smaller circles. And if it's really, really hurting, then don't do this exercise. Any exercise that really, really hurts. And I'm talking about not muscular effort hurting. I'm talking about pinching, nerve type hurting. Okay, now extend the leg, heel to the ceiling. Keep the low back pressed to the floor. Start with small circles, going in any direction. Small, slow circles. Make sure they're slow, and then gradually getting a little bigger. And then let's go in the opposite direction. Again, you might need to start small. Keep breathing. Gradually getting bigger with the circles. And then finally bring the leg toward the ceiling. Flex the foot. Lift the arms all the way up. Slide the arms toward the top of the leg or the heel, and lift the head. Bring the forehead toward the knee. Pull the leg slightly towards you and breathe. And release the leg. Bring both legs into the chest for a hug. Again, rocking side to side. So now that we finished wind relieving pose, we're going to go into happy baby. So just like a baby in a stroller, your feet, your soles of your feet will face the ceiling. Grab your feet. If your feet are just not within reach, grab your ankles. But you're opening up the inner legs and you're parting the feet. Part them wide. They're not together. They're apart. Yeah. If you can grab your big toe, grab that. If you can grab the outer edge of your feet, do that. Now pull your knees toward the floor on either side of the body. And release the low back and the hips. You're welcome to rock a little bit here if that feels comfortable. But really do your best to let go through the inner leg. Now we worked quite a bit on that today in various angles. One of the reasons why we do that is so your hips are more balanced. When the inner leg is tight and the hips are tight there, the outer has to do so much more compensating. So we need all parts of the hip to work. Hence the stretching and the strengthening through the hip muscles today. We're here still for another 5 deep breaths. Really let go through the inner legs. Let the legs open up. Remember to fill the front, the sides, and the back of the lungs. Okay, bring the knees back together. Hug under the knees this time. So wrap your arms around the thighs under the knees. Now, not everyone's going to be able to do this because of various reasons, but we're going to give it a try. Round your back and make yourself into a ball. And we're going to start rocking forward and back along the length of the spine. So if the surface underneath you is really hard and it hurts, then maybe you should put a blanket under it or not do it right now. All the way up, all the way back, as much as you can. Okay, you're going to come up into little boat. So we'll do an easy little boat today. We'll gradually get harder over time. You can hold the legs for this one. Find balance on your butt. It's sort of between your sacrum and your tailbone. And if you can, let go. Breathe. Good. Breathe. Good. Okay, we'll advance on these things over time. We're going to come to sit up now. I like to use a folded blanket because it's just about the right height for me, but you can sit on a block or a pillow or a bolster if you have one. All right, so we're going to sit up tall. Now, seated positions are challenging for some people, so I'll give you some options. For one, if sitting on the floor just makes no sense to you at all, sit on a chair. If your back is straight, it doesn't matter exactly how you're sitting on the floor. Now, if you can sit cross-legged, do that. Some people have really tight hips. And in that case, blocks are handy to put underneath your knees so that you can relax through the hips. If you don't have blocks, they're really quite inexpensive. Not really a big seller of things like that, but you can go on Amazon. And foam blocks are good enough. You don't need the cork blocks. 4-inch is better than 3-inch in case you're looking to buy some. Probably for 12 bucks you can get 2. Okay, so now we're seated. There's different ways to sit. So I'm seated in something called victorious pose or the adept's pose, but there's all kinds of different ways to sit. So first of all, you can sit with your feet under your knees, like kids do in kindergarten. So that's a good way to sit. Another way you can sit is with just your feet in front, one in front of the other, if your hips and knees allow you to open up. So you can try this one. It doesn't matter right now which foot is in front of the other. When you get into serious yoga, it might, but right now, just whatever works for your body. The other way is somewhere in between those, where your feet are tucked under your thighs, and they're sort of halfway between the knees and the feet, or the ankles. So see which way works for you. And the reason why we sit up on something is because if I didn't, you can see with my back, my low, even if I sit up tall, there's still a bit of a curve here. My low back wants to sink down, and posture can go like that. But as soon as I sit up on something, my pelvis is tilted forward. When my pelvis tilts forward, it's so much easier to stack my vertebrae straight up. So that's what we want. If we stack our vertebrae straight up, what we're doing is allowing an unobstructed flow of energy to pass through. Plus, we're not pinching any nerves, which could cause irritation to the nervous system. So, pick a way to sit. I'm going to sit up tall. Reach the crown of the head toward the ceiling. Drop your sit bones down toward the floor. Tailbone as well. Think about the tailbone dropping. But the chest is lifted. So you're actually trying to get your breastbone to face somewhat upward. And of course, it's not going to happen right away, but in time, with that intention, you'll be improving your posture. Shoulders are dropped down and somewhat back, but you're not pinching or pulling. You're guiding them in a direction and then relaxing there. Okay, so let's do our best to hold here. Let's stretch our neck. So we're going to drop our chin down toward the chest. Feel the weight of the head resting all the way down. Breathe now in between the shoulder blades. Okay, then we're going to bring the head slightly to the right. So your chin is coming toward the middle of your right collarbone. Your nose is dropping down towards your right thigh. You're not holding the head up at all, but you are lifting the chest. So chest up, head down. Breathe now behind the shoulder blades, especially the left one. Keep the shoulders relaxing down. We'll take one more full breath. Okay, now swing your right ear over your right shoulder. So your face is facing forward and your right ear is over your right shoulder. Yes. And the jaw is relaxed and you're still pulling up tall through the spine, lifting the chest, relaxing the shoulders and breathing deeply. So just a word of caution. I've seen people, and we do this in yin, where we pull the head, but we're not doing that right now. We're going to train our connective tissue to gradually release without fear, without tensing back up the muscles. We want to have some very gradual openings through the body, which is why we're doing this. While we're here, though, you can rotate the head a little bit. So you're still to the side, but you're rotating the head, loosening things up. You might feel some cracking, maybe hear it even. Okay, good. Now, swing your chin back down to your chest. Take a deep breath. And then bring the chin to the left collarbone, nose dropping down toward the left thigh. Keep the chest lifted, but drop the head in this direction completely. And breathe into the upper back behind the shoulder blades. All right, bring the left ear over the left shoulder now. Face is still facing forward. Lift the chest. Drop the sit bones. Relax the shoulders. Release the jaw. You can say ah. And take deep breaths. Remember to breathe into the belly, all the way toward the top of the chest. And if you can, we haven't practiced seated breathing all the way around yet, but if you can, think about breathing all the way around as well. Okay, and then we can rotate the head here. Okay. And then finally, we'll swing the chin back down to the chest. Inhale, right ear over right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. And left ear over left shoulder. And again, chin down and to the right. Down and to the left. Last one, chin down to the right. And chin down and to the left. And then bring the head forward again. Take one deep breath between the shoulder blades. And slowly lift the head up. So we'll move on to some shoulder rolls. And then go in the opposite direction. Good. Inhale the arms up over the head, interlace the fingers. Make a steeple with the index finger and lift up. Pull the arms up. Yeah, so tight shoulders and all kinds of things are found here. Drop the sit bone down, the tailbone and sit bones down, and lift the chest. Squeeze the arms toward the ears if possible. Stay grounded through the legs and we'll bend to the right. That's it. Breathe. Come back to center. Keep the belly button drawn in slightly so you're protecting your low back, and we'll bend to the left. Come on up. Bring your right hand to the floor and arc over with your left arm. All the way, as much as your body will allow. Use the right hand to support you. And be mindful not to be rolling forward here. So try to stay totally to the side. And maybe even roll the chest upward. Take a deep breath. And then rotate the chest down. Swing across to the other side. Bring your left hand down. Reach your right arm up, creating a C shape with the body. So you want your ribs to be pushing out to the side rather than coming with you. And breathe. And rotate upward with the chest. And then rotate the chest down. Sweep across to the other side. Lifting the left arm again. Rotate the chest upward. Look up toward the ceiling. Deep breath. Rotate down. Sweep across to the other side. And rotate the chest up. And finally, come back to center, rotate down and roll up. Hold your knees with your hands. It doesn't matter how high up you have to hold your knees, but hold your knees with your hands and round the back and pull away from your knees. So you're curling the spine. Drop the chin down toward the chest. Deep breath. And then come forward, bringing the shoulders back and the chest forward, arching the back, chin up, tailbone back. Exhale, round, curling the spine. Pull the knees and reach away from them. Drop your chin. And come forward again. Pull the chest forward and the shoulders back. Chin up. And again, hold the knees, round the back, curl the spine. And one more time, pull forward, chest up, shoulders back, chin up. And come back to neutral. We're going to do a mini twist here, okay? So right hand on left knee, left hand behind you, lift up through the chest, and slowly look back. So don't pull, don't yank yourself here, okay? Don't twist in with the arms. Just gently, one vertebra at a time, each vertebra slightly twisting so that you can look back over the left shoulder. Take a deep breath. And then very slowly unwind. Still sitting up tall. Bring your left hand to your right knee, right hand behind you, lift up through the spine, and slowly look back. One vertebra at a time, twisting. Deep breath. Slowly unwind. We'll do that again. Right hand on left knee, left hand behind you, lift up through the chest. Inhale. Exhale, twist to look back. Remember, we're not tugging ourselves in. Deep breath. Slowly unwind. And left hand to right knee, right hand behind you on the floor. Lift up through the chest and twist to look back. And slowly unwind. Okay, good. Now bring the hands together. Interlace the fingers. We're going to roll the wrists. So we all need this. Doesn't matter who you are, what you do in life. This is a must, a daily must. And then roll them in the opposite direction. So we're greasing the wrist joint, but we're also loosening up the connective tissue. Now extend your arms out in front. Tuck your thumbs into your palms. Wrap your fingers around your thumbs. Keep the elbows straight and make circles with the fists. Big, round, wide, the widest, biggest, roundest circle you can make. Very mindfully moving. Trying to not skip a single part. No angle is missed. Good. And then we go the opposite way. Same thing. You may notice some clicking. Okay. Pull all the fingers back, including the thumb. Straighten the elbow and breathe. And switch hands. Keep the elbow straight, all the fingers including the thumb. Okay, and finally bring the hands together behind the back, interlace the fingers, stretch them back and up and open the chest, chin up, shoulders down and away from the ears. Deep breaths. And release. Okay, so we're going to come onto the hands and the knees. I recommend using a folded blanket under the knees to cushion your kneecaps. Now, if you're on a carpet, you might not need this, depending on how cushiony the carpet is. So if you are putting a blanket down, don't put it right in the middle. Pull it a little bit closer to the bottom of the mat, and then place your knees on. Come into table position. If you have socks on, maybe they need to come off. We're going to need grip at some point with the feet. Okay, so we're going to just do a bunch of different things here. First, make sure your fingers are spread. You want your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. You also don't want to be locking the elbows. So soften the elbows slightly so the muscles engage. When you lock joints, muscles are disengaged, and that's not safe for the ligaments. So from here, we're going to play with the shoulders a little bit. Think about dipping down between the shoulder blades and pushing up out of the shoulder blades. Down and up, down and up, down and up. A few more. Down, up, down, up. So you're really trying to bridge, make a bridge between the shoulder blades, and then again the opposite way. Good. Okay, now push up out of the shoulder blades and hold that. And then we're going to lean to the right. Lean to the right. Now swing forward over the fingertips. Now swing to the left. And back again. To the right, forward, left, back, right. Keep pushing out of the shoulders, forward, left, back. One more time, right, forward, left, back. Now we go the other way. Left, forward, right, back. Left, forward, right, back. I even caught myself locking my elbows. So let's do this last run with no locked elbows, okay? So left, forward, right, back. All right. So this is activating shoulder muscles. Now we're going to arch the back. Inhale, look up. Tailbone rises, head rises, chest drops. Exhale, round the back, curl the spine, chin to chest, tailbone tucked. Release, inhale, arch, looking up. Exhale, round and curl. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, round and curl. Inhale, arch and look up. Exhale, round and curl. One more time, arch and up. And round and curl. Come back to neutral. Look over the right shoulder at the right foot. Take a deep breath in. Don't swing your hips out of the way. Just reach around the shoulder to look and come back. Exhale. Inhale, look over the left shoulder at the left foot. Back to center. Unlock your elbows, looking over the right again. And back to center and looking over the left. And back to center. Okay, so now we're going to press the tops of the feet flat into the floor. We're coming into sunbird, which is right arm lifted and reached forward, and left leg lifted and reached back. Now, press the right foot down into the floor, unlock your left elbow, push out of your left shoulder. So you're not dipping down. Good. Okay, bring it down. We're going to switch. Left arm up, right leg up. Push out of your right shoulder. And bring it down. Okay, you don't have to lift them up very high. You can just have them come off the floor barely. Right arm, left leg up. And bring it down. And switch and lift. and down. One more time. Switch and lift and down, and switch and lift and down. Okay, good. Turn your toes under. Hopefully you can. Some people have broken toes and things like that that haven't healed right. Turn your toes under, sit back on your heels. Use your hands on the floor. We're not here for very long. We're stretching the toes. Take a few deep breaths. From here, we're going to push back into downward dog. Keep the hands on the floor. Push into them as much as you can until the knees start to lift off the mat, and then start to straighten the legs out. You might need to walk the feet back a little bit. In downward dog, you're pushing into the hands and reaching the pelvis or the tailbone upward. But you're not trying to touch your chest to the floor. You're just making a long line between the hands and the tailbone. And the heels are dropping toward the mat. Your knees do not have to be straight. Let's take a few breaths. And then we do something called walk the dog here. So straighten one leg and bend one leg. Hold that for a breath. And then switch. And switch. And switch. We're trying to get a nice stretch in the back of the legs. One more breath with both legs straight, heels dropping toward the floor. Take a deep breath. And then bring your knees back to the floor. From here, you're going to step your right foot forward between your hands. Okay, now you might just be here. You might need some blocks under your hands. But you're going to swing your hips forward. And we'll hold this for a few breaths. Keep the chest lifted. If you can't put your back knee down, Gabriella, use like a rolled blanket or something like a bolster underneath your thigh so your knee doesn't touch the floor. Okay, so we're taking deep breaths. Okay, good. We're going to take it easy today. I won't throw a lot at you, okay? Now, from here, we're going to bring both hands to the inside of the foot. Swing the right leg back into table position. And from there, push back into downward dog. Lift the hips, send the tailbone up, and send the heels down. Reaching long through the body. Bring your knees back to the floor. Step the left foot forward between the hands, coming into lunge. So as uncomfortable as these positions are, is how much tightened parts, how much your parts have tightened and need to be loosened up. Okay, so it only gets worse if you don't undo it. So it's good that you're here and that you're doing this. Take a few deep breaths, let those hips sink. Okay, now bring the hands to the inside of the foot. Pull the right leg back. We're going to come into plank pose now. Okay, so plank can be done from the knees. If your shoulders or your hands or your arms are not comfortable supporting you completely yet, or you can extend through the whole body. Send the heels away from the crown. Push out of your shoulders. Alternatively, you can do this from the forearms if you have a wrist issue. Patty, slide your arms forward a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, a couple more breaths. Bring your knees to the floor. Now, coming down is delicate business, especially at this stage in your yoga practice. So right now, just arch your back a little bit, bend your elbows in toward your body, bring your hips down, your belly down, your chest down, and then your forehead to the mat. Squeeze your shoulders back and the elbows toward the body. We're going to come into Cobra. Lift the head, lift the chest, and press a little bit into the arms. And exhale, come down. Again, inhale, lift the head, lift the chest, press a little bit more into the arms. Take a breath and come down. Now keep the elbows close to the body as you do this. One more time. Inhale, lift the head, lift the chest, press into the hands a little more. If your low back hurts, don't come up any higher. And come down. Okay, make a pillow with your hands. Turn your head to the side. Bring your big toes together. Let your heels drop out. And we'll be here for a few breaths, relaxing. Okay. Bring the hands under the shoulders on the floor. Push yourself up onto your knees, coming into child's pose. Now, if child's pose is uncomfortable for you, the alternative is to lie on the back and hug the knees into the chest. So round the back. If your knees need extra cushioning, put yourself a folded blanket. If your knees are really tight, okay, and they hurt, you can put a folded blanket between your calf and your thigh to give space for the knees. And then round the back, bring the head to the floor. Let the hips sink toward the heels and take deep breaths into the back. And remember, you can do this on your back with your knees into your chest as well. We'll be here for about 5 full breaths. All right, let's slowly round the back, pushing ourselves up with our hands. If you have something between your legs, you can take it out. And we're going to come onto our back. So we can come back into supine position. You can lay a blanket again underneath your head or a pillow. And come to lie down. Bring your knees in for a hug. You can rock a little bit here. And then let your knees drop over to the left. And open up the right arm and shoulder to the right. You can use your left hand to hold the top knee in place. And try to relax into the pose, letting the limbs drop to the floor and breathing deeply into the back. If your back is really tight, you can always put a pillow between your knees and have the top leg rest down on the pillow. Let's take a few more deep breaths. As you exhale, draw the belly button toward the spine. Bring the knees right back into the chest as you roll onto your back and give them a hug. And then lower your legs down to the right side, opening up the left arm and shoulder to the left side on the floor. Allow the limbs to rest down heavily. You can hold the top knee with the right hand, just to keep it from sliding away. Relax the back and breathe deeply into it. Let's take a few more deep breaths. When you're ready, draw the belly button toward the spine. Bring the knees into the chest as you roll onto the back. Give them a hug. So we're going to finish in constructive rest today. Each day I'll give you a slightly different finishing pose. Bring the feet to the floor, keeping the knees bent. Part your feet wide. Draw your knees in toward each other. You can even let them rest against each other. Your arms can be on your belly or out to the sides, palms facing up. And we're going to be here for a few minutes, relaxing the whole body, starting with the shoulders dropping down, feeling the full weight of the head resting on the mat. Relax the jaw, say ah. Close the eyes. Allow the eyes to rest back heavily in their sockets. Breathe in through the nostrils, relaxing the whole face and the scalp. Feeling the low back sinking toward the mat. And the organs sinking back. And we're just going to stay here, following the breath. You don't have to work too hard at the breath now. Just notice the breath. Just be heavy on the mat. Allow gravity to pull you down and surrender to it. Just gently rock the head from one side to the other. Roll over to one side and pause here for a couple of breaths. And then slowly push yourself up, rounding your back, letting your head hang, curling up. And then we'll come into a comfortable seated position. So the way we finish a class is with the sound of ohms. Om is like all the sounds in the universe coming together in one, and it's a vibration. And the vibration settles the body, settles the cells in the body. So it's a healing vibration. And before we do that, we can put our hands in a mudra. Mudra means energy seal. So we're sealing parts of our body together. It could be like this, it could be like this, it could be like this. But I'm just going to tell you, the thumb represents the universe, the index finger represents you. When they come together, you are one with all that exists. So this is a nice way to finish a class. We're going to sit up tall, and we'll take a deep breath in and out. And then inhale again fully. We'll make the sound Om on the exhale. Om. And then we bring the hands together and say Namaste, which means the light in me greets the light in you. Thanks for joining me.